But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law doth he meditate day and night. Let me tell you about my great God. Hey guys, Pastor Tim here. Hope you're ready to get your day started off in God's Word. We are in Genesis chapter 6, kind of beginning. We were introduced to him last chapter, but we're kind of beginning the narrative of Noah. We all know about Noah and the ark and the flood, but this is the whole reason that had to come to be in the first place, and that was because of man's sin, his great sin that filled the earth. At this point, it's been more than 1,000 years or so since the time of Adam, and the population of man upon the earth has grown quite significantly, especially considering the fact that, as we saw in the previous chapter with the generations, that man lived a much longer lifespan than they obviously do today. That caused the population to grow much quicker than you probably think it would. And so, but what we see here is man's sin has grown so great that God has to punish them for their sin. And we see that principle throughout all the Bible, for the wages of sin is death. Now, there's a very interesting bit in the very beginning of this chapter. Some may say controversial. It's definitely something that's debated and discussed, and has to do with who are the sons of God. I've almost said the sons of men. Who are the sons of God? And there's two lines of thought here, and I'll just lay it out to you guys. I'll tell you which one I believe to be true. But overall, the significance of it does not impact the fact that man's sin grew to such a point that God had to punish their sin, that God chose to send a flood to pretty much wipe out all of man except for Noah and his family, who found grace in his eyes. All right, so this little controversy debate at the beginning of the chapter, whatever side you lay on, does not negate what happens in the rest of this chapter and the lessons and principles we can garner through that. Now, who are the sons of God? Now, there are two lines of thought. One is that the sons of God are referring to fallen angels that are having relationships with the daughters of men, because we see that in this chapter specifically, the sons of God and with the daughters of men. All right, so that's one line of thought, that these are fallen angels that are doing this. The second line of thought is that the sons of God is in reference to the lineage or the descendants of Seth, who would bring forth the Messiah, the godly line, so to speak, of men. And then the daughters of men is in reference to the children or descendants of Cain, an ungodly line of descendants as well. So we have godly line of descendants and ungodly line of descendants, and these men, or these children of Seth, or the godly line, or the godly descendants, are being tempted and drawn away from God to marry and have children with the ungodly descendants. And this kind of has credence in the rest of the Bible when we see the principles that are laid forth, not only in the Old Testament, but also in the New Testament, saying that, we should not be unequally yoked, and that the godly line or children of God, followers of God, should seek to marry with other Christians and other godly people as well. All right, so those are the two lines of thought there when it comes to who are the sons of God. And if you want to ask me personally, I kind of I take with the second line of thought there, with the sons of God in reference to the lineage of Seth and the godly descendants, and the daughters of men in reference to the descendants of Cain and an ungodly descendants. And that's what happened, because more of the people being drawn away from the godly line to the ungodly, that led to the very vastly ungodly population in Noah's day, and hence why Noah and his family were the only people that God looked and found favor in, because they were following God like they should. All right, so that was a lot of talk there, and you can study this out for yourself, and you'll see many great respected Bible teachers fall on either side of this debate. And I don't really think it's that controversial, so to speak, because, like I said, it doesn't affect what really happens in the rest of the chapter. It doesn't negate why God chose to punish the earth to begin with. All right, he's talking about man's sin has grown so great. All right, and remember that principle: the wages of sin is death. What I do want to get across here, and my main point from this chapter, is that Noah, despite the fact that he lived in a sea of people that did not live for God, did that which was only right in their own eyes, that chose to fulfill their fleshly desires rather than following godly led desires, as we see in this chapter. Despite all this pressure against them, despite being in the great minority of the whole world population, Noah did that which was right. He followed God faithfully, all right? And he found grace in the eyes of God because of this. So my main thing is, are you standing out for God? All right, in a world, if you look around, turn on the news and so forth, even just scroll through your social media, you'll find out, hey, this world is definitely trending towards the direction that is just drifting further and further away from God, in a sea of people that do not care what God says and only wants to do what pleases their flesh. Are you standing out as someone who wants to faithfully follow God? Can it be said of you that you have found grace in the eyes of the Lord, just like it was for Noah and his family? That's all I got for today's chapter, guys. I know I had that little thing there about the sons of God, and like I said, study it out. If you have any questions, let me know, especially if you come to Lighthouse Baptist Church. You can talk to me about it, or if you're watching this from somewhere else, ask your pastor about it as well. But the main thing is, in the minority, and that's where I think Christians are a lot of times today, in the minority, against a sea of popular opinion that is against God, are you going to choose to stand for God? Hope you guys have a great day. Stay safe, stay healthy. God bless.